Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So continuing on with our weekly sessions, we're going to dive in today the third property of an ism, which is number. So just as a quick recap, we are going through the properties of an ism right now, and they are four. The first is definiteness, so whether something is specific or non-specific, so the apple versus a apple, referring to a specific entity or a general entity. The second was gender, whether things are masculine or feminine. The third is number, and the fourth is status, which we'll be covering in the coming lesson. So today we're going to focus on number. So when it comes to numbers in an ism, they can either be singular, meaning referring to one entity, they can be dual, referring to two entities, or they can be plural, referring to three or more entities. Now this is unlike English, where in English simply there is singular, and then for them, two or more is considered plural. In Arabic, there is a specified category for dual, and that's important just to keep in mind. So let's take a look at the dual. When it comes to the dual case, it's known by two endings. The first is an ani ending, and the second is a aini ending. Now, we're going to go ahead and show a few examples of both of them in action, but what you need to know is that the reason or the usage of ani over aini, we're going to cover in detail in the next lesson. What's important to know for now is that whenever you see an ani or an aini ending on the end of an ism, it indicates to it being dual. So, the first case here we have muslimani. See, originally it was Muslim, which means a single Muslim, but by adding the ani ending onto it, becomes two Muslims. Now let's go ahead and take a look at it for a feminine case. So shajaratun, which has the ta marbuta on the end. Now when you add the ani ending onto it, keep in mind the ta marbuta becomes a regular ta. So it becomes shajaratani, which now means two trees. Right? So here we have an example of the aini case. So salihaini means two righteous people because of the aini ending. Now with the ta marbuta, it would be mu'minatun, which means a female believer. When we add the aini ending on it, notice just like with ani, the ta marbuta now becomes a regular ta. So it becomes mu'minataini, which means two female believers. So the rule to keep in mind here, which we want to keep on stressing, is that when an ani or an aini ending is added to a word that has a ta marbuta on the end, the ta marbuta is converted into a regular ta, with the ani and aini ending coming after it. So let's talk about sound plural versus broken plural. What's important to know is that in English and in Arabic, there are two types of plurals that occur. There is the sound plural and the broken plural. So what exactly are these? Now, a sound plural is simply when the regular word itself is preserved and something is just added on to the end. So in English, this manifests as the word tree. When we want to make it plural, we just simply add an S onto the end and it becomes trees. The word tree is still preserved in there. It hasn't been changed, tampered, nothing's been removed. Rather, something has just simply been added onto the end. That is known as a sound plural. Now, a broken plural would be something such as the word going from mouse into mice. No longer in the word mice can we see mouse. It's actually a completely new word. This would be considered a broken plural because the singular form is no longer intact. Another example would be the word knife going to knives. See, the word knife can no longer be found inside of the word knives. So let's start off with the sound plural. The sound plural, there will be two types. There is the masculine and then there's the feminine. So first we're going to begin with the masculine. For the masculine, it's important to remember that there are two endings that identify it. There is the una ending and there is the ina ending. So let's take a look at some examples. Muslimuna means three or more Muslims. So it's plural. And we're referring to masculine Muslims. So three or more masculine Muslims. Muslimuna. And it becomes known as that because of the una ending. Muslimina also means three or more masculine Muslims. And similar to the dual case, keep in mind that when we're dealing with these endings, the una versus the ina ending, both of them represent sound plural masculine, so three or more. When to use one or the other, we're going to cover in detail in the next lesson. So going back to it, muslimina with the ina ending also means 3 or more Muslims. Now, when it comes to sound plural feminine, in this case, there are 2 endings. There is the atun ending and the atin ending. So muslimatun means 3 or more female Muslims, and muslimatin means 3 or more female Muslims. When to use atun or atin, we will cover in the next lesson. What's important to know is that simply atun and atin are signs of sound plural feminine. So they mean 3 or more females. So now the broken plural. So how this manifests in Arabic, if we look at the word qalamun, which means a pen, when it's turned into its plural form, it's not qalamuna, qalamina, or qalamatun, or qalamatin, with simply something added onto the end. Rather, the word changes. We have letters that are inserted into it. So we have a hamza added in, onto the lam we have an alif added, and these are inserted into it, breaking the original form of the word. Now, when it comes to broken plurals, a lot of it you'll understand and you'll know through experience. The dictionary will definitely tell you, if you search up a word, it will tell you if it has to use the sound plural, or it will provide the broken plural. But a lot of them can be linked to the following patterns, right? So fu'ulun, fi'alun, fu'ulun, af'alun, fu'lanun, af'ila'u, fu'la'u, af'ulun, mafa'ilu, fi'alilatun, fa'alilun, fa'alilu. So these patterns here, these 12 patterns that are presented here, are the usual broken plural patterns that come up. Some of them occur more than others, and there are other patterns beyond this list that do occur, but these are the ones that you'll come across most of the time. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.